Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're going deep on something pretty incredible.
Oh, yeah.
It's a single story
Okay.
about this woman, Laura. She's in her early 40s and decided to make a change. And the end result, she lost a truly staggering amount of weight, like 35 kilos.
Wow.
And 77 pounds. But this isn't one of those, just about the numbers type of deals.
Right.
It's really about Laura's journey back to health and happiness. So let's get into it.
I love these stories. They're so inspiring. And, it's funny how common Laura's story is. A lot of us get to a point in our lives where we think, man, my health.
Yeah.
I got to make this a priority. The real question is what makes us realize that? And then how do we use that realization to actually make changes?
That's such a great point. So, what was the turning point for Laura?
Yeah.
What made her realize that something had to change? Because our source material mentions this big aha moment. And it all started with a visit to her doctor.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And she got some pretty serious warnings about her health. High blood pressure, possible risk of diabetes. It's heavy stuff, especially when you're in your early 40s.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear that.
So what was it specifically about that doctor's visit that was the trigger? Was it something the doctor said or?
Well, her journal entries from that time are really insightful. She wrote about leaving the doctor's office and feeling almost numb. But then later that day, she saw her kids playing in the park. And it just hit her.
Oh, wow.
She thought, what if I'm not around to see them grow up? And that fear, that powerful love for her children, it became her motivation.
Wow, that's so powerful. It really makes you realize that sometimes fear, it can be the push we need to make a change. So what does she do? Did she hire a trainer or join a crazy boot camp?
Actually, her initial approach was really simple. She set these small, achievable goals. So instead of sugary snacks, she'd keep a bowl of fruit and nuts on the counter.
Okay.
She made a real effort to drink more water throughout the day. And get this, she started incorporating short walks.
Hold on, short walks. How short are we talking? Because, I'm all for walking.
Yeah.
But sometimes even getting off the couch feels like a marathon.
I hear you. Well, her journal says she could only manage 10 minutes at first. But that's the amazing thing.
What?
Even those 10 minutes made a big difference.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And this connects to the science of habit formation. Even small actions done consistently can have a big impact. Have you ever heard of the cue routine reward loop?
I have a feeling you're about to tell me about it.
Of course. So the cue is what triggers the habit. For Laura, it was finishing lunch. The routine is the habit itself, so the walk. And the reward is that good feeling you get afterwards.
Okay.
It could be a sense of accomplishment or a boost of energy. And over time, that loop gets stronger. The habit becomes almost automatic.
That's fascinating. So even tiny steps can lead to big changes.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes things seem a lot less daunting. But I gotta ask, did Laura encounter any challenges along the way?
Oh, absolutely. Laura's journey wasn't always smooth sailing. She hit those plateaus or, those moments when the scale wouldn't budge. And I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Oh, totally. We've all been there. So how did she power through those tough times? What kept her going when the motivation dipped?
Well, according to her journal entries, she started focusing on what she called non-scale victories.
Non-scale victories. Okay, give me an example. What kind of victory are we talking about here?
For Laura, a big one was realizing she had more energy. She used to feel so sluggish in the afternoons. But after a few weeks of walking, she felt more alert and productive. Another one, she started fitting into clothes she hadn't worn in years.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't about the size on the label. It was about how those clothes made her feel. More confident, happier, proud of her progress.
That's such a good approach. It's not just about the weight, it's about the positive changes.
Right.
Did she have any tools or strategies that helped her stay focused on those victories? Because how do you keep yourself accountable when you're doing it alone?
Her secret weapon. A journal.
Really, like a good old-fashioned diary.
Exactly. Every day she would write down her accomplishments, no matter how small they were. Finished a 15-minute walk, write it down. Chose a healthy snack over a treat, write it down. Even just writing down how she was feeling, emotionally and physically, it helped her track her progress and stay connected to her goals.
It's like a written record of all those non-scale victories. I get it. Especially when you hit a rough patch. But wasn't it lonely doing this all on her own?
Well, it turns out she wasn't actually alone. The source material emphasizes how important her support system was. Her husband started joining her on walks.
Wow.
Her kids would cheer her on. She even connected with online communities where people were sharing their own health journeys.
She had a whole cheering squad behind her. That's awesome. I bet that made all the difference.
It really did.
Speaking of cheering, I'm excited to hear how Laura's journey progressed. It sounds like she was off to a fantastic start.
She was. And after 18 months of consistent effort, the transformation was remarkable.
I bet it was. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's dive into the details of that transformation in part 2 of this deep dive. We're back and ready to continue our deep dive into Laura's incredible weight loss journey. So we left off with her establishing these really great healthy habits, finding her motivation,
Right.
and building this awesome support system. And 18 months later, the results are in. They were remarkable.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling it goes way beyond just the weight loss, right?
Absolutely. The physical transformation was obvious. But what's really amazing is how it affected her entire outlook on life.
Oh, I bet. So tell me more.
Like those short walks. They turned into weekend hikes with her family.
Wow.
Cooking, which used to be a chore, became a fun way to explore new healthy recipes. She even started doing yoga regularly.
Yoga. That's amazing.
I know, right? Something she never thought she'd enjoy.
It's like she uncovered this whole new side of herself. I guess that's the power of habit. What starts as this small change creates this ripple effect.
Exactly.
And leads to this massive transformation.
Yeah. It's like this amazing chain reaction. And it brings up a really important point. The link between our physical health and our mental and emotional well-being. It's all about holistic health, taking care of your whole self. Laura's story is a perfect example.
So true. As her physical health improved, her confidence and her energy and her overall happiness just skyrocketed.
Exactly. It's all connected.
It really is. But let's be real for a second. Not everyone has the time or resources to make such dramatic lifestyle changes.
That's true.
So for our listeners who are out there juggling busy schedules, feeling a little overwhelmed,
Yeah.
what can we realistically take away from Laura's experience?
That's a great question. And luckily, Laura's journal entries give us some practical insight, things that anyone can apply.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's the first one?
She outlined 3 key lessons she learned. The first one is start small.
Start small. Okay, I like that.
You don't have to change your whole life overnight. It's about those little sustainable changes that you can stick with.
All right, it's like building a house brick by brick. You don't expect to have a mansion on day one.
Exactly. It's progress, not perfection.
I love that. And that brings us to her second lesson. Patience. Transformation takes time.
It does. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's so true. We live in this world of instant gratification. But when it comes to health, slow and steady wins the race.
It really does. Did Laura have any advice on staying patient? When those doubts start creeping in?
Oh, definitely. Because we all have those moments.
She talked about celebrating every victory, no matter how small.
Even the tiny ones.
Remember those non-scale victories? They're
Yeah.
so important. It's acknowledging your effort, focusing on the changes you're making, even if the scale isn't moving as fast as you'd like.
So shifting your focus from the outcome to the process.
You got it. And that brings us to Laura's final and maybe most important lesson.
Okay, hit me with it. What is it?
Finding your why.
Finding your why. Okay, I like that, but what does that actually mean?
It means figuring out your deeper motivation. Like, why do you want to change? For Laura, it was her kids. She wanted to be healthy for them, to have the energy to play with them, be there for all the milestones.
Right.
But everyone's why is different. It could be feeling more confident in your own skin, improving your mental clarity, or just having the energy to pursue your passions.
It's about tapping into that deeper emotional reason, the thing that fuels your efforts even when things get tough.
Exactly. And that why will be unique to you. It's the fuel that keeps you going when the excitement fades and the challenges pop up.
These are such powerful insights, and they really highlight that transformation is a journey, not a destination.
I love that.
It's about making those conscious choices every single day. Choices that line up with your goals and values. But sometimes, even with the best intentions, we need a little extra help. So what did Laura have to say about the importance of community?
Well, she emphasizes that she couldn't have done it without her loved ones. Her husband, her children, her online support groups, they were all crucial in keeping her motivated and accountable. They celebrated her wins, offered encouragement during setbacks, and helped her stay focused on her why.
I love that. It's a reminder that we don't have to do this alone.
We don't.
Sometimes just knowing someone has your back, it makes all the difference.
Yeah.
But what about those of us who are a little intimidated by this whole healthy lifestyle thing? What if we don't even know where to start, or we're worried about failing?
That's the beauty of Laura's story. It's never too late to start, and even small changes can have a huge impact.
You're absolutely right. This has been so inspiring. But before we wrap up Laura's story, I'm really curious to hear about those practical strategies, the things she used to build those healthy habits.
Oh, yeah.
Because let's face it, Putting those good intentions into action, that's the hard part.
It is, and Laura's journey is full of practical tips, things we can all learn from.
Okay, perfect. So let's delve into those in the final part of our deep dive. All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into Laura's amazing journey. So we've talked about her transformation, uncovered her why, and really just felt inspired by her resilience. But now let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
What are some of those tangible strategies that helped Laura turn those good intentions into lasting habits?
Well, one thing that really stood out to me was something called habit stacking.
Habit stacking? I've never heard of that.
Laura talks about it in her journal. It's basically linking a new healthy habit to an existing one.
Well, give me an example. How does she actually use this?
So she noticed she always made a cup of coffee first thing in the morning, so she used that as a cue to do a quick 5-minute stretch.
Oh, that's smart. So the coffee became the trigger for the new habit.
Right, and eventually those stretches became just as automatic as reaching for that coffee mug.
Wow, I love that. It's like sneaking in a healthy habit without even thinking about it.
Exactly.
Did she use habit stacking for other things too?
Yeah, for sure. Another example is how she dealt with evening snack cravings. Instead of mindlessly grabbing chips or cookies, she'd make a cup of herbal tea.
Oh, interesting. So the tea became like a pause button,
Yeah.
a moment to be mindful about what her body actually needed.
Exactly.
I love these practical tips. They seem so doable, even for someone just starting out.
They are.
Any other tricks up her
Oh,
sleeves?
definitely. Another big one was meal prepping.
Meal prepping.
She realized when she was tired or pressed for time, that's when she'd make those unhealthy choices. So she dedicated a few hours each Sunday to prepping her lunches and snacks for the week.
That's such a good idea. I know when my fridge is full of fresh, healthy stuff, I'm way more likely to cook something good.
It makes a huge difference.
But what about those times when willpower just isn't enough? You know those moments when you're craving all the things you're not supposed to have?
Oh yeah, we all have those moments.
Did Laura struggle with that?
Of course she did, we all do. But she didn't see those moments as failures. She changed her thinking. Instead of focusing on what she couldn't have, she focused on what she was gaining by making healthier choices.
Well, that's interesting.
Things like more energy, better sleep, a stronger body, a clearer mind.
So she flipped the script.
Yeah, she found a way to make those healthy choices more appealing.
It's like tricking your brain into wanting the good stuff.
Exactly.
But did she ever bring in outside help? You know, like professionals to help her along the way?
Absolutely. She wasn't afraid to reach out when she needed guidance.
Like a nutritionist or a therapist?
For her, it was a registered dietitian who helped her create a meal plan and provided support.
Okay, so that extra layer of support made a big difference.
It really did.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Laura's journey, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
For me, it's that transformation is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs, plateaus, and moments when you want to quit. But the important thing is to keep moving forward.
One step at a time.
Exactly. Celebrate those victories, learn from the setbacks,
Yeah.
and never forget your why.
Beautifully said. And remember, like Laura, you don't have to do this alone. Build your support system. Seek guidance when you need it. And never underestimate the power of those small, consistent changes.
And if you're looking for more inspiration, be sure to check out the links in the show notes.
That's it for this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for listening. And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.